Israel-Gaza-Iran War News Live Update. Biden's fake Saudi-Israeli peace deal. For over a year, the Joe Biden administration has paraded a historic agreement before longtime U.S. regional allies Israel and Saudi Arabia. A president who dubbed Saudi Arabia a pariah state and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu an asshole now views Jerusalem and Riyadh as the ingredients for a big foreign policy success in an election year. The accord is hardly a Middle East peace deal. It consolidates the Democratic Party's dominance of U.S. foreign policy and subordinates its two traditional Middle Eastern allies to Iran. The Biden administration's regional policy must finish Obama's mission. Iran and its terror proxies, including Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen, will rule the Middle East, integrating traditional U.S. partners. The new American-backed, Iranian-led regional order demands breaching Israeli sovereignty and Saudi to revise its 80-year-old partnership with Washington. Netanyahu is resisting, but the Saudis seem eager to acquiesce in hopes that Trump will return and change their position. The deal buys time, says an unnamed Riyadh-based senior Gulf affairs specialist. A year or two provides the Crown Prince time to concentrate on his Saudi Arabia agenda. According to the expert, if you can negotiate a compromise with the Democrats, you take it. Republicans already support Saudi Arabia. Make a deal with them and the Democrats will be tough. This implies that a deal with the U.S. requires a deal with the Democrats. The Biden team first focused on the Abraham Accords, Trump-brokered normalization accords between Israel and four predominantly Muslim states, Bahrain, UAE, Morocco, and Sudan, to achieve Obama's regional realignment goal. Trump abandoned Obama's pro-Iran policies and isolated the terror regime and its Palestinian affiliates. Trump also destroyed Iranian terror masters like Qasem Soleimani, who had bombed and assassinated U.S. troops, diplomats, and allies for decades. After the Arab Spring, the Syrian War, the Yemeni Civil War, Hamas attacks on Israel, sectarian violence in Iraq, and other horrific events fostered by Obama's revisionist policies, Trump's approach brought unprecedented calm and cooperation to the modern Middle East. The Biden team, many of whom were former Obama advisors who came to the White House determined to bring the Iranians and Palestinians to center stage and push the Saudis and Israelis to the wings, opposed a regional order that isolated Iran. That prompted the Saudi-Israel Accord. It was supposed to collapse the Abraham Accords to make Iran first, not enlarge them, as Biden media validators assert. Biden is reportedly brokering a Saudi-Israeli deal in which Israel agrees to a Palestinian state in exchange for a normalization agreement with the Saudis, who in turn win a defense and security compact with the White House, whose occupant enjoys a big election year foreign policy win. And best of all, Biden officials argue, the pact checks Iran. Quite the contrary. A closer look shows that the deal advances Iranian and Palestinian interests, collapses Netanyahu's coalition, and convinces the Saudis that Obama's faction, which legalized Iran's nuclear weapons program, is the only power that can protect them from Iran. Saudi ambition in strengthening ties with Israel stems from the belief that Israel is the only regional state strong enough to challenge Iran and eliminate the Iranian nuclear threat. It was based on Saudi and Israeli views that Iran constituted a severe threat and that a nuclear Iran would be far more dangerous, and that both countries had a critical interest in minimizing or eliminating the Iranian threat. According to Obama's wishes, the Biden White House sought Saudi acceptance of Iranian primacy. Team Biden replaced the true Iranian threat with the Israeli-Palestinian issue. Rearranging the place settings put Saudis and Israelis at opposing ends of the table. Using Palestinians as a spoiler is nothing new, they have played that position in the region since rejecting partition in 1948. Anti-U.S. revisionist powers consistently utilize the Palestinian cause to undermine Riyadh, the oil-producing cornerstone of the Pax Americana, and America itself during the Cold War. Anti-U.S. governments call the Saudis Quislings and Zionist stooges. The Saudis must at least acknowledge Palestinian sovereignty in Arab company, especially when the American president publicly links them to the Palestinians' feared enemy for the first time. The Biden administration used the Palestinians as a spoiler, following the anti-U.S. regime's playbook and bolstering the Iranians and offsetting the Saudis. the administration was also crafting a Netanyahu noose. He may have wanted the deal with Saudi, but Riyadh can only offer Jerusalem photo ops, water desalination joint venture projects, and unfulfillable promises to steer the global Ummah toward tolerating a Jewish state in a Muslim-majority region. Since Netanyahu's coalition partners oppose Palestinian state negotiations, accepting the Biden administration's criteria would bring down his government. The government backed his opponents Yair Lapid and Benny Gantz and fueled a hostile U.S.-Israel media campaign to corner Bibi. Administration miscalculated. Post-October 7 Israel is resistant to treating a terror enclave whose civilian population raped, tortured, and murdered Israeli families. No Israeli thinks leaving Hamas in control of Gaza or the West Bank beyond October 7 is smart. Gantz's resignation following a daring Israeli operation to rescue 4 captives and his subsequent dip in public favor polls demonstrate the Biden administration's failure to unseat Netanyahu. The White House will likely find additional ways to weaken Israel and save Hamas. If the Biden team knew about Hamas operation, which increasingly appears to be the case, it instantly saw the slaughter as an opportunity to double down on its harmful policies. The mass slaughter of civilians, including foreign workers, showed what could happen to U.S. partners if they didn't join Obama's pro-Iran realignment. After Iran's missile and drone strike on Israel in April, the White House restricted Israel's retaliation. The air defense systems that stopped Iran's bombardment may fail if Netanyahu and his war cabinet went against the grain, Biden officials warned. Although the administration's antics haven't influenced Israeli opinion, they have impressed the Saudis, who seem inclined to accept the White House's performance-based protection assurances. The Gulf analyst said, if anything happens to Saudi there are now guarantees, but Riyadh doesn't know what the arrangement implies. Washington's offer certainly echoes Obama's 2015 Iran deal, a large arms sale and ambiguous guarantees to safeguard the Saudis from the dictatorship whose nuclear program Obama approved. The key point, in the tell, is that the Saudis already had what Obama and Biden offered Riyadh a decade ago. From the conclusion of World War II, Washington has protected Saudi Arabia while it pumps cheap oil to stabilize global energy markets, ensuring America's peace and prosperity. Bush fulfilled his vow to expel Saddam from Kuwait and defend Saudi oil fields when the Cold War ended. The Saudis know that Biden, like Obama, has broken the American promise. Instead, the White House has ignored Iranian-backed Houthi attacks on Red Sea ships. No one trusts Biden, says Gulf analyst. But the White House wants Saudis to scream uncle and pay. Saudi will pay to rebuild Gaza and southern Lebanon. No, the White House isn't selling the Saudis their 80-year-old carpet. No, the new boss is renegotiating the contract. America has lost the Saudi deal to Obama and his new America, different, better, progressive. Obama now owns the carpet. To allow America's military disengagement from the region, the White House's obsessive attention to detail in reconstructing the Middle East signals that Tehran will be the strong horse to protect U.S. interests. More empire, not less. U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria safeguard Iranian allies and proxies, or equities, as Obama called it. Realignment is the diplomatic tool that will establish America's progressive empire. Saudi, the world's gas station, is climate change's epicenter in progressive imperialism. Jews rule Israel, a settler colonial ethno-nationalist state. Obama's new regional architecture must include both. Realignment promotes regional conflict and America's domestic transformation by giving Iran an American emblem.